everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Odd Vlog and the second of our Star Wars book reviews that we're doing. And I'm going to talk about one that I've just finished, which is the first of the High Republic books, Light of the Jedi. I think there was a lot of confusion with some Star Wars fans, probably the ones that just don't like Disney things, that this was for some reason replacing the Old Republic. It's not. This is the High Republic. It's its own thing, set hundreds if not thousands of years before the prequel movies. So it really goes back to the age when the Jedi were at their height and the Republic was at its height, really like a golden age. And it does come across in the book that it's a bit of a Renaissance period almost, for what the galaxy is kind of going through. So it's great because what it actually looks at is characters we've never met before, in environments we've never seen before. And it's a Jedi like you always would imagine them being when they're at their height. So exploring the galaxy, new worlds, outposts all over the place, and really just exploring and keeping up justice and doing all of those kinds of things that you would expect the Jedi to be so famous for. And there's a lot of lore that goes into this book as well. Just really, really good. Really enjoyed it. I thought, to begin with, I was probably quite sceptical. I didn't think that I was going to like it because I wouldn't know anybody that was in it. The thing that sort of attracts me to reading Star Wars books is the fact that I know the characters and they're then easy to imagine. You can imagine the environments because you've seen them before, and you can imagine the characters and how they sound and how they move because you've seen it before. So with this, didn't quite know what to expect, and I was really impressed. And Charles Soule's done an amazing job at kicking off the High Republic era, so much so that after finishing book one, I'm very excited for book two, which comes out later on this year. And I've also got the adult teen book coming sometime in February, so I'm looking forward to that coming as well. So loads and loads of books that are on there. I haven't read any of the comics. I'm just sticking to the novels and the adult novels, teen novels, for the series. So a great first start. I have to say as well, the death toll in this book is really high. It's kind of like watching an episode of Walking Dead or 24 in that characters that they actually build up quite a bit, and that you sort of think, okay, well, they're giving these characters a lot of attention, so they must be important, and then 5 seconds later, no, they're gone. And I'm not just talking a few, I'm talking literally millions of people. The death toll in this is huge. So it's really interesting, but it's definitely a page turner because as you go through the chapters, there's a real fast pace to it. You've got lots of little kind of sub stories going on behind the backgrounds with different characters, different Jedi doing different things in different places, but it all sort of centers back on this new villain that's turned up. Now I believe that the villain is pronounced the Nile. I kept reading it thinking it was the Nihil, but apparently it's the Nile. And they are, for want of a better way of putting it, space pirates, marauders and pillagers and that kind of thing. So, but definitely not the Jack Sparrow style light-hearted pirate. They're quite vicious and quite horrible people, kidnapping and murdering and fighting amongst themselves and holding people to ransom for millions and millions, and in some cases, as you go through the book, even holding entire planetary systems to ransom because of something that happens called the Great Disaster. Now, no spoilers, I'm not going to give away exactly what that is and what happens, but it's definitely a massive kind of event that takes place in a huge kind of adrenaline rush at the beginning of the book with this thing that's happening. You don't quite know what's coming, and you already get the impression straight away that they're not afraid to kill anybody off in this. So you worry all the time, and you're flicking through and you're going through the chapters sort of wondering what's going to happen next. And as I say, lots of little kind of sub stories and smaller stories that are all happening at the same time and are interlinked. And the main villain of this, the leader of the Nile, Markion, I think is how you pronounce his name. He's kind of a little bit mysterious in this. We don't really know too much about him after the end of the first novel, but you kind of get the sense by the end of the book that actually he is definitely not someone to be messed around with, and has quite a vicious streak. And at the end of the book, you're certainly wondering, well, what's going to be happening next with him going forward, because I imagine he's only going to get darker and darker. The Jedi themselves, Master Ava Chris in this probably was my favourite of the new Jedi, but there's so many, there's lots of different ones to choose from, and they all do different things, have different kind of specialities with the Force. They've all got really interesting sounding lightsabers, which are really cool, and I'm a massive fan of the fact that there are a lot of crossguard sabers, mostly because I recently got my own one as well for LED saber combat, so a massive great big cross-guarded blade as well, which I haven't used yet. this will feature in future videos when I start doing the odd saber vlog again, but I was very, very excited that getting this kind of tied in with getting the book, and yeah, crossguards are definitely a huge feature for some of the Jedi in that book as well, so very, very excited about that, just to kind of tie it in and give it some relevance. But the Jedi themselves are great, and one of the things that you hear a lot about in the books is something called Starlight Beacon, which is very much the High Republic kind of reaching out to the Outer Rim and to the outer planets, and just exploring and going out into the wilderness and sort of meeting these sometimes villains. The Hutts are mentioned in there a few times as well, so there's a little bit of a connection to what you see later on in the movies. And obviously Yoda features. He's only really mentioned in this particular book. He doesn't actually come up, he's not a main character at all, but he's sort of referenced. And I think his adventures kind of take place, I believe, in some of the comics and some of the other books, but we'll wait and see how much of an involvement he has later on down the line. I was quite glad that there wasn't too much Yoda in it. You kind of don't necessarily need to have him in there to kind of make it a decent book about Jedi. You know, there are other Jedi, as we've seen in this, and there are so many really, really great characters. Also love the fact that their sabers are all different colours as well. It's not just the green and blues, you've got yellows in there and purples and white as well, so you know, you've got all these different very lore-based references in there, and as I say, Charles Soule, who wrote this, did a great job of kind of tying that in and making all those little nods to other things that we've seen throughout the Star Wars universe. The only thing, and this really was the only thing that I was disappointed about in this book, is that there's no reference to Batuu, and I kind of feel like they missed a bit of a trick, because obviously they're exploring the Outer Rim worlds, and that, I believe, is where Batuu is supposed to be. It's on the Outer Rim. It's kind of an unexplored place. But from some of the other books that I've read, Batuu has a very kind of ancient background to it, so there's no reason why it's not an occupied place at the time of this book. There's hopefully going to be some sort of connection as we go through with the rest of the series, and I'll be looking out for that, definitely. Anything to do with Galaxy's Edge I will try and look out for as much as I possibly can. But a massive great start to the High Republic series. Definitely recommend giving it a read. As I say, it doesn't connect with any other sort of known characters besides Yoda. It's all completely brand new, completely fresh, and that's a great thing. You know, one of the reasons why I think it does a really good job is that it still feels very connected to Star Wars, and yet it is completely new, and we're not seeing anything we've seen before. Even down to the robes that they wear are completely different to what you see in the movies as well. It's kind of a cross between what you see in the prequels and a little bit of Knights of the Old Republic, kind of a blend between the two, but it's great aesthetically. I think it's brilliant. And you do get a sense in some of these that from the outposts that they live at, it's always got that Wild West style gun-ho thing where they go around trying to, you know, save people in the towns. A bit like in The Mandalorian in the beginning of I think the first episode of season 2, when he goes and saves this town from whatever evil it was, without giving away any spoilers. And you do kind of have this Western vibe throughout all of it, and I felt that with this book too. So it was a really, really cool way to kick off the thing. And as I say, yeah, High Republic, definitely a fan of it so far. As I say, I was very sceptical and a little bit worried I wasn't going to enjoy this, just because it was a very different style Star Wars book to what I've read before. But yeah, brilliant start. Absolutely, definitely recommend it. So give it a read if you can, give it a chance. Honestly, High Republic, I think, is going to be a fantastic book series, and I do mean series. There's going to be about 3 years worth of books with, you know, 2 or 3, maybe even 4 novels a year coming out of this. So they're all connected. It's very much like the MCU of the Star Wars book world, if you want to call it that. And there is going to be, I believe, a show coming on Disney Plus. I think it's called Acolyte, and it will be set towards the end of the High Republic era. That's what I've heard anyway. I don't know how true that is, but obviously it'll help you to understand what's going on in the show if you've got a bit of pretext. So give it a chance, give it a read. Definitely recommend it. I think, considering how much pressure this was under, I would honestly give it 5 out of 5. It really blew me away, and I was very, very impressed. Beautifully written, and as I say, I can't wait for the second book, and that's obviously a good sign that I enjoyed it. So as I mentioned also earlier on in this video, I will hopefully be doing some more of the odd saber vlogs with LED saber combat. at some point. Don't know. That depends on the world going back to normal, which I don't think will be anytime soon. But I know I did the pilot video for that last year, and have never really had the chance to kind of do any more. But there will be some more of those. You'll see all of the sabers, like the one you saw earlier on, and hopefully there'll be another book review for the Star Wars books coming forward as well. Probably the next one will be Resistance Reborn, so keep an eye out for that. And if you can, give this video a thumbs up, because it really helps me out. And if you do want to see the rest of the book reviews that I'm going to do, go ahead and subscribe, and then you'll never miss an episode. So with that, we're all done, and I'll see you guys very, very soon.